Starting us off at number 10, we have the Justin Timberlake cheating scandal. If you missed this one, then prepare for your heart to be broken because, oh, this one hurts. Fans adore Justin and his wife Jessica Biel, who are married and have 2 kids together. Honestly, they seem to be the power couple in Hollywood. But that all changed in 2019 when photos leaked online showing Justin holding hands and getting cozy with his co-star Alicia Wainwright. The pictures were taken in New Orleans where he was filming, and apparently the cast had a night off and decided to go to a local bar. In the pictures, Justin is having drinks, holding her hand, and she is also stroking his knee at one point. But what most people pointed out very quickly was that he did not have his wedding ring on. For obvious reasons, this started a huge cheating rumor mill, but Justin released a public statement saying nothing happened further than those photos. He apologized and said that his actions were wrong, and Jessica Biel gave him a chance to prove himself. She was very forgiving. Up next, number 9, we have the epic elevator fight. This one shocked everyone when video footage surfaced in 2014 of Solange Knowles and Jay-Z having an argument in an elevator. Surveillance footage at a hotel caught Solange physically attacking her brother-in-law, who didn't put his hands on her at any point in this footage. It was a bit confusing for people to watch because the elevator ride was just quiet and normal at first, but then what seemed like out of nowhere, she just snaps and starts to kick him. Fans got an explanation later on when reports claimed that she was mad at Jay-Z for allegedly getting too close with Rachel Roy, his business partner's wife. But the 2 of them spoke on it later on and said that alcohol was involved and that they have worked it out and they are on good terms again. Basically, they said it was very simple. They are like brother and sister, and so they fight like brother and sister. I've been there. My sister's chased me around with a hammer one day and then loves me the next. And that's a fact. Cruising into the number 8 spot is Miley Cyrus's bong video. Back in 2010, this was one of the biggest scandals to happen because it was a Disney star gone wild situation. Miley had been exposed on social media and in paparazzi many times, but she doesn't seem too bothered by it usually. But she probably cared a little bit more about this scandal because someone exposed her online in a video of her hitting a bong on her 18th birthday. Let's keep in mind that during this time, this was not legal by any means, and she was still associated with the Disney Channel, so obviously it was very detrimental to her career and reputation. After Disney started making public statements about it, Miley claimed that she was smoking salvia, which is a natural and legal herb with psychedelic properties. No one believed her though, in all honesty, and then years down the road she admitted to what it really was, which we already knew. But okay, Miley. Moving on to number 7, we have Reese Witherspoon's DUI. That is a sentence that I never thought I would say. No one wants their personal life getting caught on camera, but you most definitely do not want a DUI getting caught on camera. Or your legal record for that. It's worse in Reese's case because hers was filmed and then exposed to the entire world. It happened back in 2013 when she was with her husband at the time, Jim Toth, and they were pulled over by an Atlanta cop on suspicion of a DUI. The police dash cam caught the whole thing on tape and showed Reese going into some erratic rage, which actually led to her being arrested. Her husband was the one driving, so he was actually the one with the drink driving charge, but Reese was intoxicated and just felt feisty, and she felt the need to stick up for her husband. In the video, you can see Reese yelling at the police officers and not listening to their orders, which were telling her to sit down. They ended up putting her in handcuffs, and then she lies to them saying that she's pregnant and has to pee as an attempt to get out of the handcuffs. They ended up both being arrested, and she ended up pleading no contest to physical obstruction of another, and Jim pled guilty to his DUI. In spot number 6, we have Winona Ryder's shoplifting scandal. She has one of the most trending surveillance tapes from any celebrity misconduct that's ever been caught on camera. The footage was released back in 2001 when she was one of the biggest Hollywood stars at the time that everyone was talking about. But then everyone was talking about her for all the wrong reasons. Video footage leaked and showed her shoplifting merchandise worth $5,000 from Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. The incident and legal battle put her career on hold for a while, but later down the road, she said that it was the best thing that could have happened to her at that point in her life. She explained and said that she felt like she was hitting a wall, and what happened gave her the time off that she needed. Honestly, I don't get when like celebrities shoplift. Like, you are rich and you could probably get half that stuff for free simply because of who you are. Like, what are you doing shoplifting? You have $5,000. At number 5, we have Leanne Rimes and Eddie Cibrian cheating scandal. This one was messy. The two of them were co-stars in the 2009 movie Northern Lights, but they seemed to grow a closer relationship than just co-stars. At the time, Leanne was married to the dancer Dean Shermitt for 9 years, and Eddie was married to model Brandy Granville. During the shoot of their movie, they upgraded their friendship to another level, and surveillance footage caught the whole thing on tape. Video footage from a restaurant showed the two of them having dinner together and even sharing a kiss and holding hands. Even though the footage showed them straight up kissing, the two of them denied infidelity, which just made people even more angry at the situation because, like, you got caught. What do you mean? Sniping our number 4 spot is David Hasselhoff Drunken Hamburger Feast. If this is your first time hearing about it, then you're probably really confused as to what I'm talking about. It seemed silly at first, but it was actually a lot more serious than people knew. The video footage surfaced online back in 2007 and was actually exposed on social media by his own daughter. She didn't have bad intentions, she just posted the video clips online thinking no one would see it or that no one would really pay attention to it. The video showed her dad completely wasted, lying on the floor, struggling to eat a hamburger, which normally would be funny to watch, but he is a recovering addict, and the video exposed that he was no longer sober like he was claiming to be. In the video, you can hear his 16-year-old daughter saying, I quote, "Dad, you need to promise me you're not gonna get alcohol tonight, okay? If you get alcohol tonight, you are fired from your show tomorrow. And a doctor is coming over here in the morning to check your alcohol level, and if there's any alcohol in your system, you're going to be fired." So it was actually a lot more serious than people thought. David ended up admitting to his relapse and issued an apology. Taking over our 3rd spot is Jamie Lynn Spears and the Pita Pit fight. A lot of people learned not to mess with Britney Spears' little sister back in 2015 after surveillance footage showed her doing something crazy. She was having lunch at a Pita Pit restaurant when a fight just broke out in the dining area, which actually included one of her friends. Jamie was not actually involved in the fight and she was trying to break it up, but it was unsuccessful, so she did the unthinkable. She actually was able to grab her friend and pulled her out of this brawl, and then she walks behind the food counter and grabs a bread knife and starts waving it around as a warning to the people fighting. No one got hurt, and no, she did not actually use the knife on anyone, but who knew that this Nickelodeon star had that kind of fight in her? That is pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. Swinging around a bread knife. I can't even imagine. Moving on to the number 2 spot is Kate Moss gets caught with substances. The famous incident happened in 2005, and by that time, everyone knew that the English supermodel was having some substance issues, but this was the first time that her addiction came out as a legit story. Video footage surfaced online showing the model snorting 5 lines in the course of 40 minutes. Turns out there was a hidden camera in the recording studio that she had been hanging out in with her then boyfriend Pete Doherty. Once the photos and video footage surfaced everywhere, she lost all of her fashion clients like Burberry and H&M, who ended their campaigns with her immediately. All of the contracts that she lost were worth more than $4 million. Rumor has it though that the only brand to actually stick by her during that time was Chanel, who announced that they were willing to renew her contract despite what happened in that video. Earning a number 1 spot is Caitlyn Jenner's car accident. This one is more serious than some of the other ones on our list, and it turned into a significant legal battle. Caitlyn got into a car accident back in 2015, which quickly turned into a serious lawsuit after one person was killed. Caitlyn was uninjured in the crash, but after being exposed on social media, she was deemed a lawsuit for wrongful death. Video footage was posted online which captured the entire accident on camera, showing Caitlyn's Escalade. Her Escalade was carrying an off-road vehicle, and she ended up hitting 2 cars, causing one car to hit the other car. One of the drivers, Kim Howe, was 69 years old at the time and sadly passed away in the crash. At the time of the investigation, even though the tape clearly shows who is at fault, she was able to walk away without any charges. However, 3 years after the accident in 2018, she was sentenced to pay $800,000 for the settlement of the case. Starting off our list at number 10 is Ashton Kutcher. Don't freak out, the actor didn't cheat on his wife and mother of his children, Mila Kunis. He actually cheated on his wife that came before her, Demi Moore. The actress was 16 years older than Ashton and had 3 teenage girls when they first got together. When they got married, he was only 25 years old. The age difference had rumors flying that there was trouble in paradise when it came to their marriage. The majority of rumors were that Ashton was cheating on Demi with multiple different women. The rumors may not have stuck, but one alleged hookup sure did when there was proof. Paparazzi captured pictures of Ashton leaving his hotel, the Roosevelt, with Sarah Leal in the car with him. After the pictures surfaced, Sarah came forward with the truth, saying that they hooked up in a hot tub in September 2011 on his 6-year anniversary with Moore. During an interview with The Sun, she stated, and I quote, "We had sex twice, everything felt natural, we were having a good time, one thing led to another. He was good, it wasn't weird or perverted or creepy. I was attracted to him and he was attracted to me." She also went on to say that Ashton told her he was separated from Demi at the time when they hooked up. Needless to say, Ashton and Demi officially divorced not long after the truth came out. At number 9 is LeAnn Rimes. She's known for a bit of everything, acting, singing, and she's even recognized now as an author. She is a triple threat. However, one thing she isn't very good at is being faithful to her husband. Her cheating scandal caused a lot of controversy when photos of her kissing her co-star Eddie Cibrian at a romantic dinner together. Turns out Eddie was married too. The scandal made headlines back in 2009 when the footage was leaked from a restaurant security camera. The photo snapshots show the two actors holding hands, kissing, and cuddling up next to each other. Rimes was married to Dean Shermitt since 2002, and Eddie was married to Brandi Glanville since 2001 and even had 2 kids with her. Once both of their spouses were made aware of the cheating, they both pulled the plug on their marriage. LeAnn and Eddie eventually married each other in 2011. How romantic. Taking over the number 8 spot is Balthazar Getty. Most people remember this scandal because the picture went viral of the famous topless holiday cheating scandal. Back in 2008, the actor's career was in its prime when he starred in Brothers and Sisters. Not only was his career going well, but so was his marriage. He had a long-term marriage with his wife Rosetta Getty, and the two of them even had 4 children together. That was quickly ruined when he was caught having an affair with Sienna Miller. They were caught together in Italy on a vacation when topless photos of Sienna made headlines. Getty and his wife separated for 2 years after the incident, but decided to work things out. The actor and his wife opened up during an interview with People magazine and said that it actually made their marriage stronger. As for Sienna, she later dated Jude Law, who ended up cheating on her with their nanny. Karma? At number 7, we have Katharine McPhee. Her career first started in the music industry when she came in 2nd place during her season on American Idol. She later transitioned into the acting world when she landed a starring role on the television series Smash in 2012. During her time on the show, paparazzi managed to get some photos of Katharine and the director of the series, Michael Morris, kissing, which definitely wasn't part of her job description. Both of them were guilty because they were both married at the time. Michael was married to the mother of his 3 children, and Katharine had been married to a man named Nick Kokis for 5 years at that point. Her husband ended up filing for divorce, and the paperwork was finalized in 2014. Swiping the number 6 spot is Ryan Phillippe. For a long time, the actor was married to Reese Witherspoon, and they were one of Hollywood's most admired couples. They got married in 1999 and were together until 2006, where they had 2 kids together, a daughter and a son. The couple always came across as having the perfect relationship, which is why people were stunned when Ryan was photographed kissing another woman while he was still married to Reese. Photos made headlines of Ryan and the Australian beauty Abby Cornish having a public makeout session. In 2007, Ryan and Reese divorced as a result of the cheating scandal, and eventually Ryan spoke openly on his romance with his mistress. The two of them continued to be in a relationship together until 2010. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Elizabeth Taylor. The actress was part of a huge Hollywood scandal all the way back in 1962. It was one of the most scandalous and iconic headlines made during the time. Paparazzi caught Elizabeth spending some romantic time with Richard Burtman on a private yacht. The first photo appeared in June of 1962, and people were shocked seeing as both of them had been married at the time. Elizabeth was married to her 4th husband at the time, Eddie Fisher, and Richard was married to his first wife, Sibel Williams. Once the pictures were out, the two of them left their marriages to be together. They became an iconic couple in Hollywood and got married only 1 year after the scandal on March 15, 1964. Their love story was legendary, but for all the wrong reasons. Here we are at number 4 with Hugh Grant. Even with photographic evidence, some actors are able to weasel their way out of the wrongdoings. kiss. But Hugh's photographs are not the typical kissing photo like anyone else on this list. Not only was he publicly outed for cheating on his girlfriend in 1995, he was also arrested because he had solicited an escort. His cheating scandal pictures, his mugshot, and hers. There is no way you're possibly talking yourself out of this one. Back then, Hugh Grant and his girlfriend Elizabeth Hurley were one of Hollywood's power couples, or so everyone thought. During the scandal, fans were shocked that Elizabeth actually stood by her man's side. It didn't last very long though, the damage had already been done and they split not too long after. Taking the number 3 spot is Kristen Stewart. Her scandal broke the hearts of many Twilight fans. She began dating her co-star and movie boyfriend Robert Pattinson while filming the Twilight series of movies. Fans were obsessed with their love story since they got to see it in the movies and also in real life. She ruined their love story when she was caught cheating with her Snow White and the Huntsman director Rupert Sanders. The paparazzi leaked the photos in 2012, which showed the two of them making out in a car and snuggling up together on a deserted hike. Not only was Kristen in a relationship, but so was Rupert. He was married to Liberty Ross and also had kids with her. Robert, Liberty, and fans were all heartbroken by the shocking scandal. Kristen issued a statement saying, "I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I've caused to those close to me and everyone this has affected. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob." The two of them split not long after, and Rupert's wife filed for divorce the following year. Alright guys, at number 2 we have Marlon Wayans, the actor who made big waves in the acting industry when he starred in White Chicks back in 2004, one of my favorite movies to this day. However, I am not too pleased with the actor after learning about his cheating scandal. The scandal happened in 2012 when he had been dating his girlfriend and mother of his 2 children, Angelica Zachary, for 12 years. Pictures made headlines that showed Marlon kissing and caressing a mystery brunette on a private yacht in St. Barth's. Some people were shocked while others stated that he's always had some commitment issues. During an interview with Wendy Williams before the scandal took place, he revealed that he and Angelica don't even live together, even though they have kids together. When asked why, he said, "I like to keep it fresh. When you live together, that's when the sweatpants and the cream on the face comes out and it kind of says you're not going to get some." How did he possibly explain this to his kids? He later admitted that once his kids found out about the cheating, they physically lashed out at him. Angelica decided to stick it out with him, but they ended up getting a divorce in 2013. Taking the number 1 spot is Kevin Hart. This one cut deep for me because he is one of my favorite comedians, so it's hard not losing any respect for him. Not only was Kevin married at the time of his cheating scandal, but his wife was actually pregnant. He was on a trip in Las Vegas when camera footage broke the internet showing the actor getting up close and personal with an exotic dancer. The footage was taken from a Vegas nightclub surveillance video. Once the footage was out there, Kevin came forward in a shocking Instagram video where he confessed his affair to his millions of followers to try and stop the mistress from trying to get money from him in exchange for her silence. At the time all of this was going on, his second wife was in her 3rd trimester of pregnancy. Turns out his wife was actually the mistress that broke up Kevin's first marriage, so their story is kind of a mess altogether. Kevin continued to publicly own up to his actions and apologize for his mistakes, which his wife actually forgave him for.
Starting off our list, we have how Joe Coy was described as the worst host ever. Now, Joe Coy is supposed to be a comedian, which means he's supposed to be funny, but he had the crowd pity laughing because his bits turned into more of a monologue, and people were less than impressed. He claimed he only got the gig 10 days before the event, so if they wanted him to be a perfect host, they should just shut up. Isn't it your whole job to be able to make and write jokes that are funny? No one expects perfection, but it could have at least been polished. Fans were blasting him on social media about his comments on Robert De Niro as well, because Joe said that he was sorry that he was a fan of his. And the fact that Robert De Niro got his 29-year-old girlfriend pregnant was his best performance yet, considering he's 80. While it did make the crowd laugh, his jokes came off as abrasive rather than funny. Which brings me to my next point. Joe Coy's jokes about Taylor Swift. One of the more abrasive jokes he made was about Taylor Swift, and we know how well those jokes go over. Well, the joke in question was that the difference between the Golden Globes and an NFL game was that there was less coverage of Taylor Swift. Some people gasped and other people chuckled, but Taylor did not appreciate it. She didn't even crack a smile. She just pursed her lips, took a sip of her drink, and glared stared at him with pure malice. The fact that she was just there for attendance made it worse because she was there with her friends, notably Selena Gomez, who we'll talk more about later. But he went out of his way to call her out and felt the wrath of Swift fans, which brings us to the next point, about how Jo Koy was backpedaling on the joke. After his hosting, Twitter went a little haywire. Fans were saying things like how he just walked on set and said, "I'm hosting," and no one did a background check to make sure that was a good idea. And that the audience was pity laughing because of his Barbie jokes, and it was more than obvious he missed the point of the movie. That and his monologue was just plain awful. But when fans got to the Swift jokes, he began backpedaling, trying to defend himself, saying that Taylor and Travis's relationship is cute. There just happened to be fewer cutaways. He then said, maybe she was just thirsty, maybe she just needed a drink and it was weird timing. No man, your joke wasn't funny and she didn't appreciate that. She's made it clear she was only at the games to support Travis, and she isn't worried about pissing off other fans, because she's just there for him, not for them. Following that up, we have Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner's appearance. To wrap my head around the fact that Timothée Chalamet is dating Kylie Jenner is already a hard one to picture, considering he looks 14 but he's really 28 and she's 26 but she looks 30. But because he was nominated, no one was really surprised he brought his girlfriend as a date. However, in classic Hollywood fashion, they showed up late, but they were adorable all the same. They were wearing matching black sequin outfits and were displaying a good amount of PDA throughout the ceremony, and were caught being absolutely smitten with one another. While it's adorable, it caused a little bit of tension, which brings me to the next point, about Kylie's protective energy. Of course, you can't blame Kylie for being protective, but when Selena Gomez asked Timothée for a photo because you know he's a famous actor, Kylie stepped in and said no. Selena took that back to the table and shared this with Taylor Swift, who she is really good friends with, like I mentioned before. But this isn't as surface level as Kylie being protective. It goes as far back as Selena's beef with Hailey Bieber. Taylor and Selena are besties, and Hailey and Kylie were besties. So obviously there's still some residual hate from Kylie towards Selena because of the incident that happened over the previous years. But you'd think she'd feel safe enough in their relationship that she wouldn't mind letting him take photos with fans. The whole thing seemed to have an off vibe to it, but it was embarrassing that Kylie had her insecurities outed like that. Next on the list, we have how Barbie was practically ignored despite winning. Now, Barbie was a smash at the box office, making $155 million on opening weekend alone, but aside from the jokes, it was relatively ignored throughout the ceremony. Now, that's not saying they didn't win. Billie Eilish won an award for the best song in a movie, while 2 other songs from the movie were nominated as well, and the movie itself won a cinematic and box office achievement. But the movie was nominated for a good chunk of the categories. Considering how many memes there were, how many songs were streamed from the movies, and how it affected the entire internet algorithm, I feel like it deserved a little more recognition than what it got, and it's almost embarrassing that it didn't. To follow that, we have how Studio Ghibli beat out Disney. Now, this is a huge feat. Disney owns just about everything, and they dominate the animation business, owning Pixar, Blue Sky, as well as a few other animation studios aside from DreamWorks. So for Studio Ghibli to pull ahead and out on top is incredible. They have a Japanese art style that's truly beautiful and magical, and has been flying under the radar for years, considering they haven't released a new full-length movie in years as well, and they haven't made such a huge theater debut in decades. So for them to not only win, but beat out Disney Pixar's Elements and Disney's Wish, as well as Into the Spider-Verse, because Sony is also owned by Disney, while it's incredible that they won, the Disney name has to feel some embarrassment considering they had 3 movies in the running and still lost. Next up, we have how Killers of the Moonflower was also widely ignored. Now, this was predicted by a lot of avid movie watchers considering the nature of the film compared to everything else that was released this year. They received 7 nominations over many categories, but only won a single award. And it wasn't for the movie itself, but rather Lily Gladstone's portrayal of her character in the movie. So there has to be some embarrassment there. The fact that they lost on every front except hers. They say you can't win them all, but they didn't win any for the movie itself. But it did have a more serious subject matter compared to some of the other winners, and it wasn't received as well in theaters nor streaming services, considering it was a Paramount and Apple TV original. They were beaten out by mostly Oppenheimer, which makes sense overall, but it's still unfortunate for the movie cast and crew. Overall, fans may have enjoyed it, but like many other things, the Academy did not care for it. Second to last, we have how Timothée Chalamet was there for one category. Not only was he there for his role in Wonka, and was only nominated for 2 categories technically, both based on his character, but he lost in both categories as well. He and Kylie walked in there like they were big shot talk of the town just for him to lose. The least they could have done was be there on time to create less of a spectacle for themselves, since he seemed very confident he had the win. That's what happens when you get too full of yourself and your acting skills. You lose in front of your girlfriend, and the embarrassment from that was enough to take him down a notch. And last but not least, we have how the entire thing was described as lame and chaotic. Between Jo Koy's secondhand embarrassing monologue, which caused even Selena Gomez to bow and shake her head, to the lack of excitement from many attendees, it was described as rushed and unpolished, like he could have used some refining before he went on stage. People even described this year's Golden Globes overall as forgettable, and it was just a blur of talking heads and jokes that fell flat. At least this year, the champagne wasn't lukewarm like Jennifer Lawrence predicted. Out of the 81 Golden Globes, this one was ranked at a level D of entertaining. It's embarrassing for the Academy, I suppose.
Number 10. Said better. The Duchess of Sussex accompanied her new hubby Harry to the Queen's Young Leaders Awards, which honors youngsters from across the Commonwealth. The event was streamed on the royal family's Facebook page, meaning that the entire world could see this event live. But one royal fan was shocked by something that she spotted, which was the way that Meghan was sitting. But not just sitting, she's sitting with her legs crossed. While this just seems like Meghan getting comfortable to, most people, the proper way to sit in the royal family is to sit with knees touching and the hands on the knees. Instead, she just crossed her legs, and someone online was very quick to point it out. Not only was this disrespectful in general, but she was photographed sitting next to the Queen, literally dissing the woman right to her face. Now, I'm not big into the royal family, but I've been told this is very rude in their eyes, so bad Meghan! Number 9. Rude to royal staff. According to former employees that were unfortunate enough to work for Meghan while still living with the royal family, Meghan had a bit of a temper, especially when it came to the people who make her life easier. According to one caterer, Meghan and himself got into a heated debate after her vegan food was being delivered to her wedding. Meghan was in the middle of tasting a couple of dishes for the big day when she suddenly became very upset. According to the royal expert Katie Nicole, she was told by a source that Meghan tasted an egg in the dish that led to a very tense exchange. According to the source, the Queen actually had to calm Meghan down and told her that they did not speak to people that way in this family. The moment was recounted in the book The New Royals. Many behind-the-scenes secrets were revealed, with many examples of Meghan's misdeeds being put on paper for the rest of eternity. Number 8. Videographer Diva. An industry videographer who worked closely with Meghan Markle before she met the prince revealed that she was already called princess in her Hollywood days for her difficult and demanding behavior on set. According to the cameraman, Meghan was known for bringing large entourages on set with her and laid down a strict set of rules for everyone involved with the production. The biggest was do not shoot her feet. Big no-no. Her feet became a hot topic of conversation after she took off her shoes during a royal tour in New Zealand in 2018, revealing what many thought was a scar from a bunion removal operation. It became apparent to the cameraman and the rest of the crew that she despised her own feet. Another man, a photographer, backed this story up by recounting a photo shoot that took place in 2015. Meghan was reportedly intense and turned up with an entourage of 12 people strong. The photographer, who wished to remain anonymous, said that they were warned about Meghan's behavior. Apparently, she showed up in disguise all of the time, and from the moment that she would enter the set, her attitude and demeanor was just plain rude. Number 7. Greeting mourners. The Duchess of Sussex, say that 10 times fast, was greeting mourners stationed outside of Windsor Castle on September 10th with her husband Prince Harry and the Prince and Princess of Wales when the incident unfolded. In footage that was wildly shared to Twitter, aka X, Meghan could be seen holding up a bunch of pink roses and talking to the crowd when an aide speaks to her from behind. The Duchess can be seen whirling around quickly with what many people claim to be an extremely annoyed face. Could just be how it sits, but she did look pretty angry. Meghan spoke to the aide for a moment, pointing and waggling about, when she snapped back, smiles, and nods. While of course there was never any word on what exactly was said or why it was said in such a snappy way, there might be a little bit of insight on that. According to one freelance journalist who claimed to be there, shed some light on the conversation that took place. Apparently Meghan just didn't want to hand her flowers over to the aide, simple as that, that, but she snapped in a very inappropriate setting, so maybe keep your composure next time. Number 6, missing the king's coronation. When Charles was turned into a king earlier this year, many fans of the royal family were curious to see what the Duke and Duchess would do. Well, it turns out that while both Harry and Meghan were invited to the event, Meghan decided that she didn't like the king's reaction to her wishing to attend. After an interview that took place on Oprah in 2021, the royal family had been living on very thin ice. The king did not appreciate all of the dirty laundry being aired out for the world to see, not to mention the fact that the couple were in the process of creating a Netflix documentary. While their PR team has claimed that the idea of Meghan actually snubbing the king is ludicrous, the proof was right there. Not only were there letters that proved that there was at least a conversation that took place, but Meghan not attending the event was a massive red flag. One of Meghan's biggest issues with the situation was that the invitation sent to them never included the children. Number 5, the Prince William altercation. So it turns out that these two are the original snubbers of this couple, being one of the several reasons that they decided to leave the royal family in the first place. According to their book, Meghan and Harry were deeply unhappy in their last year and discussed wanting something to change with the Queen and Prince Charles, who is now the king. This was before they took their infamous trip to Canada, where they officially started plotting their exit from Britain. According to the book, William was furious with his brother's decision, especially the way that he was handling things. So during the little time that they continued to live in Britain, William and Kate were basically ignoring them at every single moment on every single day. Meghan was doing the exact same thing, but I don't know, it's kind of justified. Snubbing them on every carpet in the house. The most notable snub that took place on camera, however, is when the four of them all met at the gates of Windsor Castle, where Meghan and Kate have the briefest exchange, but it's just filled with icy glares and just anger before they snap back into photo mode. We're not 100% sure what happened behind the scenes there, but Meghan really does not like these people. Number 4, Judge Judy. Now I know what you're thinking, what in the name of all that is good in this world does Judge Judy have to do with the royal family? Well, let me tell you. When Harry released the memoir Spare, Judge Judy took to the talk show Good Morning Britain to express her hatred for the piece, claiming that if she were in a similar situation as the Queen at the time, she'd also be very furious. She went on to say that the idea of writing a book that shares intimate details to the public that they do not need to know is ludicrous, and anyone with a brain would see it's disingenuous. Meghan was asked to weigh in on Judy's harsh words, but during a phone call with her PR team, she called Judge Judy a hack and told her to get a life. At least that's what the PR team said. I've never spoken to Meghan, so who knows? Number 3, documentary. Netflix finally released all 6 episodes of the Harry and Meghan documentary, which was a documentary showcasing their lives as royals and the secrets that they keep. The series sparked massive amounts of backlash and controversy though, the main gripe being that the information they are sharing with the audience is info that they either already knew or stuff that just was not that interesting. The internet flooded with hate for this couple, especially towards Meghan Markle. The documentary only made her look like more of a diva than she had already been reported to be. The documentary was just an excuse to get hers and Harry's faces on Netflix. She's already been in several projects, but it's not enough. Clips shown on the series showcase her rude behavior time and time again. While the documentary was meant to be a way to paint the ex-royals in a new light, it ended up making them look like massive jerks. Number 2, Spotify. Only a few months after announcing their exit from the royal family, Meghan Markle announced that herself and Harry had signed a multi-year deal with Spotify to make a podcast. They claimed the show was designed to help build a community through shared experiences, narratives, and values. Their announcement did not include how much the couple was gonna get paid though, which ended up being a modest $20 million. It's just your average everyday paycheck, you know, I get 21 every 2 weeks here. However, from the moment this thing kicked off the ground, Spotify had grown reportedly frustrated with the couple's content and lack of productivity. According to the executives at Spotify, the couple were taking way too long to actually build up a team to make their episodes. There wasn't even a real structure to how things were going to be recorded. 6 months later, they produced one 33-minute holiday special. 6 months for 33 minutes, way to go. Many people started to question what was going on behind the scenes. In that 33 minutes, guests like Elton John, Deepak Chopra, Stacey Abrams, and a few others popped up to say hello, so why not just sit down with each and every one of those people for an hour straight? That's a podcast right there, so many people do it. Nothing came after this episode for almost an entire year, but but eventually they hired an audio lead. Several people denied her requests to join the podcasts, like Taylor Swift, but the list is endless. Despite releasing regular episodes, the team posted on social media claiming all credit should go to the underpaid and undervalued producers. Apparently Megan was very rude behind the scenes and extremely demanding. Shocker. Spotify eventually decided to cancel her show for a few reasons, but mainly it was because they spent a year of their deal doing absolutely nothing. Despite the success that the show eventually received, Megan got canned for good, and some tells me that her attitude had a lot to do with it. And at number 1, Frogmore Cottage. The Duke and Duchess have lost their home base in the UK, Frogmore Cottage, which was the last home available to them. The cottage sits on 33 acres of land and was a regular vacation spot for the couple. But since having their home taken away, many rumors have circulated claiming that this might have been a result of some kind of behind-the-scenes feud. According to an insider close to Megan, the couple were actually involved in a bit of a dramatic situation with the groundskeeper of the property. The specifics were never divulged, but the information released says that it was enough for the property to be taken back and for their deed to just be shredded. Many see this as justice being served. Megan was under the assumption that because she's royalty she can speak to anyone any way she wants. Well, hey, next time be nicer to the guy who holds the keys to your house.
Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is the Kevin Hart cheating scandal. In 2017, he broke the internet after video footage leaked and showed him with another woman. Allegations flooded the internet claiming that he had cheated on his wife at the time, Aniko Parrish, who was 8 months pregnant with their son. Kevin was denying the rumors at the time, but then landed in the middle of an extortion attempt. Someone allegedly was in possession of a video of him with another woman engaging in sexual activity, and they were going to expose him if he did not give the money. Aniko later explained how she found out about the cheating scandal, and it was actually through a DM. She said, "I was about 7 or 8 months pregnant and I was having breakfast and I opened my phone and immediately I just lost it." Kevin finally admitted to it and released a public apology to his wife and family, and the two of them worked through it and they are still together to this day. They even have more babies together. Moving on to number 9, we have the infamous Pamela Anderson sex tape. This scandal is so crazy that it's almost too crazy to believe, but it is still one of the most talked about controversies. They actually have a TV series coming out about it. It was back in 1995 when she made a tape with her husband at the time, Tommy Lee. They made the tape during their honeymoon and said that it was never meant for anyone else's eyes. But just a few months after being filmed, it was being watched by millions of people. Turns out they were having their Malibu home renovated and had many workers at the time working on their home. An electrician named Rand Gauthier said that they owed him $20,000 but refused to pay it, so he wanted revenge. He ended up plotting a heist and stole their safe from their garage, which was filled with their jewelry, other prized possessions, and their tape. In order to avoid the security cameras, he disguised himself as the couple's dog by draping a white fur cover over himself, and then once he was inside, he lifted the safe and used a U-Haul dolly to move it. Like, I'm not even kidding, you cannot make this up. Of course, he then leaked the tape and it actually made $77 million in less than 12 months. Wow. In the number 8 spot is Mike Tyndall. This was one of the biggest cheating scandals in Hollywood because it is never a good idea to cheat on the Queen of England's granddaughter. The English rugby player cheated on his wife Zara Phillips back in 2011. Well, he did, or he attempted to, we're still not very sure. It was only a few weeks after he married the second child of Queen Elizabeth's daughter, Anne. Video footage captured him kissing, so I guess he technically did cheat then. But he still denies it. Anyway, video footage captured him kissing a mysterious blonde woman in New Zealand, and the world was shocked. The incident was caught on CCTV cameras and then went viral immediately. Because it involved a member of the royal family, the scandal blew up even bigger than people expected. However, despite the massive scandal, the two of them continued to stay married. Cruising into number 7 is Ariana Grande and the donut. This one is a little more ridiculous compared to the other ones. Who would have thought a donut would cause so much drama? Back in 2015, Ariana was exposed after someone posted surveillance footage of her licking a donut. She and her boyfriend at the time, Ricky Alvarez, decided to play truth or dare at a donut shop, and apparently that was one of the dares. In the footage, you can see them daring each other to lick the donuts that were on display for purchase. People thought it was inconsiderate to the business, obviously, but there was more to it. In the video, you can also hear her saying, "I hate Americans, I hate America." America. So obviously, Americans weren't very thrilled about it. She faced a ton of backlash for it and released an apology video taking responsibility for her actions. Like, what? Who'd be out here just licking donuts on display? She probably had to buy them all after that. Rolling into the number 6 spot is Tristan Thompson caught cheating. Technically speaking, his scandal was 2 different times because he was caught cheating twice. What a guy. The first time was when his girlfriend Khloe Kardashian was in the hospital about to give birth to their daughter. Security footage leaked online showing him kissing another woman in a nightclub more than one time. On top of that, video footage showed him going to a hotel with that same woman that he was kissing in the club. After the scandal blew over and she gave birth to their daughter, she did decide to forgive him and stayed with him. But then later down the road, it was revealed that he had cheated once again, but with Kylie Jenner's best friend, Jordyn Woods, who was basically a sister to Khloe and the rest of their family. I remember when the video first broke the internet, it was crazy because like news articles announced that Khloe was in labor and then Tristan was out cheating while she's in the hospital. It was crazy. It was nuts. Yet she stayed. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Bryce Hall. That's all, just Bryce Hall. It is safe to say the TikTok star has had many scandals in his career so far, but one of them was a physical altercation that got caught on camera. It was actually 2 incidents on 2 different occasions. The first one was in late 2020 when he posted a video of he and his friends physically attacking an unknown man outside of a restaurant. He exposed himself and tweeted the video and said, "We don't condone violence, but if you punch someone in front of us, we'll have no choice but to defend ourselves." But Bryce's security guard was in the video with them, and everyone was quick to say that the altercation could have been avoided and that posting the video was showing that you did condone the violence. Then, just a few weeks after this first video, another one leaked online of Bryce attacking a server at a restaurant in LA. Apparently, in LA, it is illegal to vape in restaurants, and when the server told him to stop, he got mad and attacked the employee. The footage was crazy, and unfortunately, we cannot share it on here. So I apologize. But the fighting videos are pretty wild to watch. Moving on to number 4, we have the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. A moment caught on camera that will forever be remembered. You might have even guessed that it would be on this list. It wasn't just caught on camera though, it was actually aired live in front of the entire world. Back in 2004, she paired up with Justin Timberlake to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, and as most of us know it, things did not go to plan. Near the end of the song, they were performing some of the rehearsed choreography, and Justin was supposed to pull off part of her costume, but instead of revealing what was underneath, he exposed her bare breast instead. One of the worst fails ever at the worst timing. It was said that at that halftime show, it had 140 million viewers that night. Taking 3rd place is Lamar Odom's paparazzi freakout. Celebrities having a little freakout on the paparazzi isn't anything new, but this one crossed the line and took things too far. The NBA star was exposed in some leaked video footage where he was yelling at a paparazzi man and destroying all of his equipment. Turns out the pap had asked him about his affair on Khloe Kardashian at the time, and he lost his cool. He found the pap's car, which was parked nearby, and he took a crowbar, opened it, and started throwing all of his camera equipment in the middle of the road. Even after he had thrown it on the ground, he went over to it, picked it up, and just kept smashing it to make sure that it was broken. Tons of people were driving by, so fans were just standing there confused watching the whole thing happen. The man ended up pressing charges though, and Lamar paid him for new equipment and apologized. Rolling into the number 2 spot, we have Paris Hilton. I'm sure you can guess which one this is. Another sex tape scandal that we could never forget. It's tough to say if this was technically caught on camera or not, since she participated in the video, but the whole scandal has been a huge controversy because a lot of people think that it was a publicity stunt. Back in 2003, her tape was allegedly leaked online, but things seemed to be a bit sketchy. The video was called One Night in Paris and showed footage of her and her ex-boyfriend Rick Salomon. But when it was leaked, the video footage at that point was 3 years old, so people didn't know why it just randomly came out 3 years later. Paris claimed that her ex leaked it, but people think she did it because it was leaked just before the premiere of her new reality show. I personally don't want to say that she leaked it in case she really didn't, because that is a horrible thing to have something intimate and personal leaked online like that, but all the articles I have read claim that it was a PR stunt and that she did benefit from it. if you know what I'm saying. She got money. Winning the #1 place is the Britney Spears umbrella drama. While it may have seemed funny at the time, in more recent years we learned that it was actually more serious than anyone knew, and Britney was really struggling with mental health issues at that time. The incidents became a meme and a gif for many years, but now it's not so funny anymore. Back in 2007 we saw footage of her freaking out on paparazzi and smashing their car with an umbrella. In the same night we also saw footage of her going to a hair salon and shaving off all her hair, and then getting a tattoo just a few moments later. The night was very chaotic and people didn't understand why she was just spiraling out of control. The umbrella from the incident was actually kept by the paparazzi man who got attacked, and 10 years after the incident he auctioned it off in LA and was starting the bid for $50,000. Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is the Miley Cyrus kiss. You are probably wondering which one? It was the one that surprised everyone because it was so random and came shortly after the news that she had split from her husband Liam Hemsworth. In the summer of 2019, photos went viral showing Miley on vacation kissing and cuddling with Caitlyn Carter, Brody Jenner's wife. People were very confused, but turns out Caitlyn and Brody had split very recently, and so did Liam and Miley. So the pictures were also a shock not only to fans, but just everyone involved. Their fling only lasted a month, but Caitlyn has since opened up about how hard it was for her. She said, "I went on vacation with a female friend. The next thing I knew, I was in love with her. Until that trip, it had never crossed my mind that I was even capable of loving a woman the way I loved her." She told herself that all her relationships after that one will be kept more private. Even though she and Miley did try to keep it private, the paparazzi got them. I remember they're kissing, they were under a hat trying to kiss, and it was like, busted, ladies. Up next, number 9, we have Hugh Grant getting caught with a lady of the night, if you know what I mean. It was back in 1995 when he was caught on the Sunset Strip having an affair, paying a woman to get intimate with him in his car. He got busted and was arrested for lewd conduct in a public place. The news itself was a huge scandal because he was a huge Hollywood celebrity getting caught in the act, but it was a very sticky situation because he was with his longtime girlfriend at the time, Elizabeth Hurley. So not only did he publicly cheat on her, but it happened with someone that he paid. The two of them still tried to work through it as she chose to forgive him at the time, but things did not work out. In the end, she ended up leaving him 5 years later after this scandalous incident. Sliding into number 8 is the infamous Princess Diana affair. This one could be seen as the biggest affair in all of Hollywood history since it involved people with such royalty. It was back in 1992 when The Sun leaked a transcript of phone calls that were captured between Princess Diana and James Gilby. The secret phone calls revealed the affair she was having on Prince Charles at the time, as the two of them were still married. It was a massive scandal, but got even more controversial when it was revealed that Charles was also having an affair with his now wife, Camilla Parker Bowles. So both members of royalty did not remain loyal in their marriage, and obviously the rest of the world was freaking out about it. In spot number 7, we have Madonna, Christina, and Britney kissing. It has now gone down in history as one of the biggest moments caught on camera, even becoming a viral gif and meme. If this whole thing happened in 2021, it would never be a controversy, but things were a lot different back in 2003 when it happened. It was during the MTV Video Awards when Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, and Madonna performed together and ended up locking lips. Madonna just felt the need to rock the boat a little bit and kiss both of them during the live performance. Because times were so different back then, the camera switched their shots quickly and cut to a shot of Justin Timberlake's very confused reaction. He was dating Britney at the time and looked just as confused as everyone else did. They ended up cutting the kiss shots out and they did not televise it, but the footage and photos were already all over the internet and they live on to this day. What an iconic moment. Next up at number 6, we have Britney Spears getting called a terrible mother. When asking Britney about it, this scandal was just one big misunderstanding, but to the public it was something very serious. In February of 2006, the paparazzi got photos of Britney driving in her car with her infant son on her lap instead of in a car seat in the back. The photos went viral immediately and media outlets began calling her a bad mother, obviously concerned for the safety of her child. But Britney tried to explain what happened and said that she was in a, I quote, horrifying, frightful encounter with the paparazzi. She said it was just a spur-of-the-moment thing that she needed to get out of there as quickly as possible for her safety as well as her son's, and she didn't have time to just stand there and buckle him in the car seat. Her intentions were to just leave the area to get away from the paparazzi and then buckle him in his seat like usual, but of course, this was still a very dangerous decision and situation. Halfway through our list, at number 5, we have Kylie Jenner's pregnancy. Well, Kylie Jenner's secret pregnancy. That is why it was such a controversy. Normally, a woman becoming pregnant is very exciting news, but because she was 20 at the time and keeping it a secret, it was a more scandalous situation. Back in 2018, Kylie seemed to go quiet for a while from the Hollywood limelight, and no one understood why. For months, people were speculating that she was pregnant, but no one could ever get confirmation until the paparazzi finally got pictures of her with her very pregnant belly. The photos leaked online and it caused some outrage because fans just didn't know why she kept it a secret. She ended up apologizing in an Instagram post saying, "I'm sorry for keeping you in the dark through all the assumptions. I understand you're used to me bringing you along on all my journeys. My pregnancy was one I chose not to do in front of the world." She shared her entire pregnancy though in a video called "To Our Daughter," which was filled with videos and photos that she took along the way while she was hiding it from the world. It was actually beautiful. I watched it. It was so cute. Cruising into number 4, we have A$AP Rocky's arrest. It was a very dramatic event in 2019 when TMZ released a video showing that the rapper got into a street fight while he was in Sweden. Just days later, he was detained by the Swedish court for a suspected attack. It didn't help that there was video footage linking him to the case, but he maintained the claim that he was acting in self-defense. His detainment made worldwide news and even got the attention of Kim Kardashian and former President Donald Trump, who warned Sweden there would be negative consequences if they did not release him from prison. He ended up being found guilty of the assault but was able to avoid jail time. Instead, he was handed a suspended sentence after the court found that the incident was not of such serious nature to warrant more time behind bars. He did pay the victim $1,300 in damages, and that was it. Rolling into number 3 is the Kanye West and Taylor Swift feud. I don't think anyone will ever forget the most cringe-worthy moment in award show history. The time in 2009 at the MTV Video Music Awards when Kanye West walked up on stage and grabbed the mic from her hand during the middle of her acceptance speech. She was accepting the award for Best Female Video when he took the mic and announced to the room and the entire world that she did not deserve the award and that Beyonce should have won it. He gave a big speech about how Beyonce's video for Single Ladies and how it was the best music video ever created, apparently, which was pretty good, but like, rude. The entire thing was incredibly awkward, and even Beyonce felt horrible about the situation and looked horrified when he did it. But later in the show, when Beyonce won an award, she called Taylor up on stage to let her finish her speech during her speech time. So it was really cute. Taking over our number 2 spot is Mel Gibson's leaked audio. Back in 2012, there was a crazy incident that went down between Mel and screenwriter Joe Esterhaz. Joe and his family were actually staying at Mel's home in Costa Rica when he went off on a crazy rant that left them terrified. What happened was, Mel was supposed to direct a movie called The Maccabees, but Warner Brothers passed on it after reading the script, which apparently Joe had written. Joe claimed that Mel purposely sabotaged the film, which was about a famous 2nd century BC Jewish revolt, and said that he did it for anti-Semitic reasons. The audio from his rant leaked because Joe's son had recorded it on his iPod. In his rant, he was lashing out at Joe for apparently not working hard enough on the script and blaming him for the reasons the movie was not moving forward. You can hear him cursing and throwing things, and Joe says he released the audio on purpose so that everyone could see how Mel is behind closed doors. We already knew that though. His DUI, his other racist rant that he went on. We already know. In our number 1 spot is Kurt Cobain. The most serious and controversial scandal on this list was the passing of the legendary musician and the debate that still remains around it. In 1994, he was found passed away in his home from a self-inflicted shotgun wound to the head. That is what the police report conducted at the time, and photos of the crime scene were leaked online. People immediately started investigating the photos and then speculated on whether or not it was really self-inflicted. Some people pointed the finger at his then wife Courtney Love. Since that day, tons of theories have floated around about who it may have been and what really happened to him. Honestly, if it wasn't for the released photos and the final letter that was found in his home, people probably wouldn't have been as skeptical. The letter was inconsistent and raised a lot of questions, and the position of his body in the photos and then the things around him in the scene just didn't add up, and it still remains a mystery to this day. Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is the time that Zac Efron dropped a condom on the red carpet. This is not fake news, you guys. This is very much real. To make matters worse, it was on the red carpet of the Dr. Seuss The Lorax premiere, which isn't the first movie you normally pick to bring a condom to. Like, I just want to know, like, what were you planning for that night at a Dr. Seuss premiere? He ended up fessing up to it during an interview on the Today Show, but he couldn't really deny it anyways because it was all caught on camera. With a simple zoom in, you can clearly tell that it is a condom. Zac was just reaching in his pocket to pull some other items out, but then that fell out instead, and it just so happened to fall out directly in front of the paparazzi that was waiting for him. He ended up just laughing it off and said that he now does a full pocket check before going on the red carpet. Better to stay safe than sorry though. Am I right? I mean, it's not like a horrible message to be putting out there to his fans. Next up at number 9 is the moment that Jerry Seinfeld refused to hug Kesha. The moment went viral after it was caught on camera because it is painfully embarrassing to watch. I don't get secondhand embarrassment very easily, but guys, with this one I did. I just felt so bad for Kesha. Like, I can only imagine being so excited to meet like your celebrity crush and then this happening. So what happened was they were both on the red carpet at the Night of Laughter and Song event. Jerry was in the middle of an interview when Kesha rushed over to him, all excited to meet him. She approaches him and tells him how much she loves him, and she goes in for a hug, and he just like completely rejects her.
Can I give you a hug?
No thanks.
Please?
No thanks.
A little one.
Yeah, no thanks.
The moment is so awkward. She tries to hug him like 3 different times, and he just keeps putting his hand up and saying no. What hurt her even more though is the fact that when she walked away, he asked the reporter who that was. He didn't even know that it was Kesha. But the two have spoken since the incident, and Jerry said that she was very nice about it and that they laughed it off. And if you are wondering, no, he still has not hugged her. Sliding into number 8 is Jennifer Lawrence. One day we will all be telling our grandkids about the time that Jennifer Lawrence tripped up the stairs at the Oscar Awards. We won't have to just tell it though, we can also show them because it was all televised. She had just been called up to the stage to receive the Best Actress award for her role in Silver Lining Playbook, and she completely tripped and fell on her way onto the stage. She explained what happened and said that she remembers her stylist telling her to kick and walk, meaning kick the dress out while you walk, but then she got distracted and forgot. The dress tucked under her feet and she went down. It was pretty much just game over from there. But she did handle it like a champ. She laughed and then got right back up and went to get her award. In our number 7 spot is Justin Bieber pukes on stage. Back in 2012, it was the first night of his world tour and everything seemed fine at first. He was doing his thing, busting out his choreography, and singing his hit song Out of Town Girl, and then things suddenly took a turn for the worst. Out of nowhere, he turns his back to the crowd, bends over, and just puked all over the stage. He immediately rushed backstage while his dancers continued on, basically trying not to slip in his vomit. He eventually made his return to the stage, announcing that he was gonna just slow things down, but within a few songs, he was puking again. So he didn't just puke once, he puked twice. In front of everyone. He posted a picture to his Instagram after the show with him curled up in bed and captioned it, "Milk was a bad choice, lol." Why would you ever drink milk before a show? That's bad for your vocal cords, boy. I don't even sing and I know that. Milk. That is the worst idea I've ever heard. Moving on to number 6, we have 50 Cent's terrible baseball pitch. Now, why would anyone care if he can throw a baseball or not? Well, he threw what's been called one of the worst opening pitches in baseball history. He was asked to pitch the game ball for the Pittsburgh Pirates versus the New York Mets game, and it is a pretty big deal to be invited as the opening pitcher. But his throw was so brutal that everyone could not help but laugh.
His first pitch was not great. Just a bit outside.
He was torn apart on social media, but in a lighthearted way, of course, because it's not that serious. He didn't have much of an excuse for it, so he just made a joke about it and wrote on his social media saying, "I have a skeletal muscle injury on my left shoulder from excessive masturbation, so take it easy, lol." This just prompted like a whole stream of hilarious responses from his fans. But, well played, my friend, that is funny. He literally just like threw it to the left, like literally, I don't know where you were looking, but it wasn't that way. Halfway through list number 5 is Ashley Simpson's lip syncing controversy. It's hard to forget her epic SNL singing fail from 2004 that pretty much ended her entire music career. Now, I don't want to laugh at the fact that her career was affected by this humiliating moment, but at the same time, why you lip syncing, girl? You are a live performer.
On a Monday, I am waiting.
If you haven't seen this footage before, she was performing her song on SNL and the music track started playing behind her as she was starting to sing the song, but the timing was kind of off and she just got completely exposed for lip syncing. It was extremely awkward, and then you could tell that she didn't know what to do, so she just started doing this like weird dance Irish gig thing, which just made everything even more awkward and uncomfortable. Yeah, the whole thing was just pretty embarrassing. Here now at number 4 is Katy Perry's hilarious cake fall. Ever since she came into the spotlight, she's been known for her crazy costumes, rainbow wigs, and wild stage props, like a giant cake for example. During one of her performances at the MTV's Latin America Awards, Katy was singing her hit song I Kissed a Girl and she dived into a giant cake. Now you might think she could have settled for a fake one, surely they have cool props like that nowadays, but she chose the real deal instead. But when she got off the cake and was covered in it, she continued to sing but slipped and fell onto the floor. The best part was, she kept trying to get back up, but she just kept slipping and falling down again. Like her guitar player is trying to help her and she just can't stay on her feet. She was falling all over the stage as she struggled to get up and stay on her feet, all while singing. It was honestly so great to watch. I don't mean to laugh at you, girl, but that is hilarious. In our third spot is Janet Jackson's iconic nip slip. This moment will forever be remembered, and it would have been even if it wasn't televised all over the world. It was back in 2004 when Janet paired up with Justin Timberlake to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. But by the end of their performance, they gave a whole new meaning to the phrase wardrobe malfunction. At the end of the song, they were performing some of their rehearsed choreography, and Justin was supposed to pull off part of her costume to relieve like more red costume underneath, but instead he exposed her bare breast. Not only to the crowd, but to the TV audience of over 140 million viewers. Taking over our number 2 spot is Steve Harvey announces the wrong winner. Back in 2015, he was asked to host the Miss Universe pageant, which means you only have one job: to announce the winner. He proved to be a reliable host for 3 years, so people were shocked when he announced the wrong winner and didn't realize it until after everyone was celebrating her win. Like she literally did the flowers, the crown, everyone was cheering. Yeah. He announced that Miss Columbia had won the competition, but then realized that she was actually the runner-up and the actual winner was Miss Philippines.
I have to apologize.
He actually had to walk back on stage and revoke his declaration and then tell Miss Philippines that she is not in second place, she is in first place. The whole thing was super uncomfortable to watch, and you can't help but feel so heartbroken for Miss Columbia, who just thought that she had won the entire thing and then had it taken away. Taking our number 1 spot is Fergie peed herself on stage. She recalls it as the most unattractive moment of my life. She's the first to admit that it was one of the lowest points of her career. Back in 2005, she was performing with the Black Eyed Peas and says that she was rushing to get on stage because they were late. It was a Friday and they were driving down the freeway, so they got stuck in horrible traffic. They knew that they had to start the show immediately when they got there, so she didn't have time to go to the bathroom beforehand. While they were performing Let's Get It Started, she started running across the stage and began jumping around, and that is just when it came out. Literally. She said that her adrenaline was going and it just kind of happened, and she was so embarrassed. Despite the pee though, she kept on singing like nothing had even happened, even though it was super obvious to the crowd and the whole thing was caught on camera. I don't mean to laugh, girl, but you know what? We've all pissed ourselves at one point in time. So no shame, don't even feel bad. Not quite like that though, but